Our next topic is about iteration, which looks at two types of loops, for loops and while loops. In this section we're going to look at for loops specifically. So a for loop is what's known as a fixed loop. So we're going to set exactly how many times a section of our code will loop around. So this is how a for loop looks. We use the key term for, and then we have a count variable. Now this can be called absolutely anything. For now I've just called it loop, but it could be X, it could be anything. In range 1 to 11. So this means we're going to start at the number 1 and we're going to loop all the way around and stop at 11. So when I print inside this loop, we know it's inside because it's indented by a tab. We're going to print the string loop number and which loop we're on. So I'm going to run this to show you. So we get loop number 1 all the way through to loop number 10. So once our loop hits 11, it just stops. If I wanted to loop in a particular pattern, so for example, if I just wanted every second number within that loop, I can add this on to the end here. So I'd start at 1, stop at 11, and show every second loop. So if I run this, we can see that it goes up in 2. So loop 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. I can also ask the user how many times I actually want the program to loop for, which can be really useful. So I'm just going to put in a bit of code here. So number equals int input. How many times would you like to loop? And then I would replace that in here. So where I was stopping at 11 before, this time round I'm going to put in the number they have chosen. So in this case I would put in number. I'm actually going to start this at 0 just so it offsets it, otherwise it would stop just before the number you wanted to. I'm just going to remove that bit. So this time I've got a user input, a user integer input, asking me how many times I want to loop. We're going to loop in the range starting at 0 up to the number we've chosen, and then we will continue on with this loop number. So if I run this, and if I want it to loop 10 times, press enter, we then actually get it to loop 10 times. If I wanted to fix it, so it does actually start at 1 and end at 10, I can simply just add 1 to loop here within my print. If I run that again now, and choose 10, here you can see now it just kind of adds it back to start at 1, 2, 3, all the way through to 10. Just like in our if-else-if statements, you can also do other things other than print within these loops. In fact, you can do everything within a program inside your loop. But just to help you out with your upcoming task, you can also ask for inputs. So if I just did something like answer equals int input, enter a number, that would ask that question every time I loop around. I'm just going to loop 5 times, 2, 7, 5, 8, and 3, and then it stops. So for the task you have to do with for loops, you're going to want to use something like this example to be able to help you. So in this lesson we've looked at for loops, and we've looked at how they're structured. So we start with the keyword for, we have a loop counter, which keeps track of how many times we've gone around our loop, and then we look at what number we want to start at and what number we want to end at. So within our loop we know that we're going to be able to do whatever falls underneath, which is tabbed in, a certain amount of times, and that's what we call a fixed loop. Also, just like the if-else-if, there's a colon on the end of the for line, so make sure you don't forget that because it will cause lots of errors otherwise. For the first task attached to this video, you'll also need to work out a way of actually tallying your answers. So using this code as a starting point, you'll also need to have another line figuring out how you're actually going to keep a tally of the numbers you enter.